As a CEO, my wife is incredibly wealthy, yet she's always worried I'm after her inheritance. She keeps a tight rein on our finances, allowing my daughter and me just $200 a month for spending money. However, when her first love came back to the country, she didn't hesitate to shower him with a luxury car and a mansion, worth millions, to welcome him. Later, when my daughter had a sudden heart attack, the only thing that could save her was a $10,000 surgery. Instead, I was accused of being ambitious and was thrown out of the company by security. I watched as my daughter passed away in the operating room, while my wife boarded a plane for a joyful world tour with her first love. After I finished arranging my daughter's funeral, my wife returned from her trip, as indifferent as ever. She said, "Hey, didn't you and our daughter always want to go to the amusement park? I'll take you next week." But she didn't know that the moment our daughter died on that operating table, I was ready to end our marriage. I was packing up my daughter's belongings when my wife, Adeline, who had just returned from her world tour, casually walked back into our home. "Declan, can you massage my shoulders? The trip really wore me out." Hearing this, I, who once cherished her dearly, remained silent and continued packing. Seeing I ignored her, Adeline frowned, then suddenly laughed as if something amusing had crossed her mind. "Are you still jealous about Jasper and I traveling together?" Jasper was her childhood friend. Adeline had left our daughter, who was gravely ill, to travel the world with this friend, letting our daughter die on a cold operating table. Thinking about my daughter's eyes slowly losing their warmth felt like a dagger through my heart. Before I could speak, Jasper walked in, feigning innocence. "Oh, Declan, it's all my fault for dragging Adeline on the trip. But don't worry, it was just a trip, nothing more." He spoke lightly, yet they wore matching outfits and rings, looking like a genuine couple in public. Meanwhile, the wedding ring Adeline and I shared had long been discarded by her. Seeing I still wouldn't speak, Adeline sighed, looking helpless. "Alright, don't be mad. I'll send an extra $500 this month for Anna to get something nice. Just remember, I'm doing this for you. No need to thank me." But looking at the transaction on my phone, I felt nothing but mockery. She spent millions on a world tour with Jasper, buying luxury brands, where a single bag costs thousands. Yet now, giving me $500 felt as if she was doing me a huge favor. Jasper stood by, trying to suppress his laughter, sarcastically saying, "Declan, $500 is quite a bit. You should thank Adeline. Let me tell you, kids should be raised modestly, so they won't be materialistic when they grow up." As absurd as it was, Adeline believed it. To prevent our daughter from being materialistic, she strictly controlled our expenses, giving only $200 monthly. I used to argue because I wanted a better life for our daughter, but now she's gone. Arguing means nothing. With this thought, I returned the money and said calmly, "No need, I don't want it." Adeline's smile froze, then she helplessly said, "Declan, I already apologized. What more do you want?" Before I could speak, Jasper's mocking voice came from the side. "I think he just thinks $500 is too little, right? Declan, not to be harsh, but with your greedy attitude, how can you be a good example for Anna?" He lectured me condescendingly. Hearing this, Adeline also looked at me with disappointment. "Declan, we've been married a few years, and you're already this greedy? In a few more years, are you planning to take over the shares and inheritance from Adeline's family?" Listening to Adeline's accusation, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. After all this time, this is how she sees me. But my silence, to her, seemed like guilt. The next moment, Adeline spoke with irritation. "Looks like Jasper was right, you're not a fit father. I'm doing this to teach our daughter resilience. If you keep this up, and Anna turns out materialistic and greedy like you, can we still call this a family?" Looking at her seriousness, I found it ironic. Her so-called resilience was scolding me for asking for a little extra for groceries, accusing me of eyeing her inheritance. Even when our daughter scored high and wanted a small cake, she'd point at her, scolding. "So materialistic at a young age, you'll grow up to be a gold digger. Your dad will spoil you rotten someday." Thinking of this, I was about to tell her about our daughter. "Adeline, our daughter is all ready." But before I could finish, Jasper suddenly cried out in pain at the door. The next moment, Adeline didn't even bother continuing to lecture me. She rushed to Jasper's side. "Jasper, what happened?" Jasper feigned nonchalance, waving it off. "Adeline, I'm fine. Maybe the long flight triggered my old back pain. I'm okay, don't let me delay your time with family." Hearing this, Adeline shook her head. "Your health comes first. I'll take you to the hospital now." Just before leaving, Adeline seemed to remember something, turned to me, and sighed seriously. "Declan, let's both calm down first. When I get back, we can discuss taking our daughter out next week." But she didn't know our daughter was gone, and I had no intention of waiting for her anymore. After gathering my thoughts, I took my resignation letter and went straight to the company to resign. On the way, colleagues pointed and whispered, "Isn't that Declan? How can he still show his face here?" "Yeah, asking CEO Adeline for $10,000 last month and got thrown out by security. With his salary, how many years would he need to earn $10,000? Ignore this clown, let's go." Hearing these, I laughed at myself. For years, Adeline never announced our relationship, even arranged for me to be just a regular employee to avoid suspicion. I've worked hard, even drank myself sick to secure big deals for the company. All I wanted was to become better, to make her acknowledge me and our daughter. But my promotion applications were repeatedly rejected by her. I sought her out for an explanation. She smiled, clinging to my arm, sweetly said, "Declan, this is all to train you, so you can be a better husband and father. Besides, I earn enough for us. Do you think I can't support you and our daughter, or are you trying to climb into the company's upper ranks to seize power?" I was left speechless, thinking she had her reasons. But on the day Jasper returned, she sent dozens of luxury cars to the airport. The cannon salute was deafening. That night, Jasper parachuted into the company, appointed as vice president. I realized then, love or lack thereof, the difference response was obvious. Given this, there's no need to continue this ridiculous marriage. I submitted my resignation. Stepping out of the company, I expected to feel heavy-hearted, but I only felt relief. For years, like a bird with clipped wings, I've been trapped in a cage, oppressed. Now, I see freedom ahead. I visited my daughter's grave, placed her favorite toys by her small tombstone, stayed with her until nightfall, then dragged my tired body home. To my surprise, opening the door, Adeline was unexpectedly home waiting. Do you know what time it is? I thought you'd learn to stay out all night. On the couch, Adeline frowned, arms crossed, displeased. Her expression was a signal for me to comfort her. But I found it odd that while Jasper's minor injuries would keep her by his side, she wasn't with him at the hospital today. Not my concern, so I didn't ask. I calmly asked, "What's up?" My cold tone made Adeline's face stiffen. No matter what happened before, I always greeted her with a smile. But since she returned from her trip, I've been different. No arguments, no fuss, even my gaze lost warmth. This made her uneasy, quickly saying, "Are you still mad about me going with Jasper? I told you, it was just to relax. Didn't our daughter always say she wanted to go to the beach? Once I'm less busy, I'll take you and her, okay? Is something the matter?" Adeline's expression shifted, caught off guard by the icy tone. In the past, no matter what happened, I always greeted her with a smile. But ever since she returned from her trip, I've changed. I no longer argue or make a fuss, and even my gaze towards her has grown cold. This unsettled her, prompting her to say hurriedly, "Are you still upset about me going out with Jasper? I told you, it was just a break to clear my mind. Our daughter has always wanted to go to the beach, right? Once things settle down, I'll take you both. How about that?" Her attempt at reconciliation felt more like a condescending gesture. To her, my daughter and I were like pets, amusing when she was in a good mood, and pushed aside when she wasn't. Suddenly, Adeline seemed to remember something and looked at me curiously. "Wait, where's our daughter? I haven't seen her since I got back. Did you send her to your mom?" I stared at her in disbelief. She had been back for 2 days and was only now asking about our daughter. It was clear she didn't truly care about our daughter or this family. Before I could respond, Jasper emerged from the bathroom wearing my bathrobe. Seeing me, Jasper was unfazed and acted as if he owned the place, warmly inviting me in. "Declan, come on in, make yourself comfortable."